is, stock investing doesn't work for everybody either. But someone with a, a real good knack for investing once said, "An idiot with a plan can beat a genius without a plan." Warren Buffett, one of my idols, is someone that really always has a good plan. And no matter how smart you are, if you don't have a plan, there's no way that you would, do well in the stock market. So, do you all agree with that, or is this something that you've never heard of before?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
This is a good question. When it comes to investing, are you an idiot or are you a genius?
Depends.
Anyway, so this is IBD's TIPP poll, Economic Optimism Index. This was, basically, updated October. So I don't know what it is now exactly, but it shows that people are fairly optimistic about the economy as of October 1st. And the reason that they're optimistic is because 50% is one of the low levels. So anything above 50 is really positive. So within the 50 to 65% range is average. So people feel that their financial outlook is getting better. The 6-month outlook is getting better, and this is up to 55. If you look at this is almost up to 60, and this is up to 55. So people actually feel their personal financial outlook is better than the 6-month outlook. And federal policies, people are optimistic about that. And this is presidential election tracking poll. This was last election in which Clinton was 43%, Trump was 45%. It seems like now the polls actually reversed. So IBD's calling Joe Biden as the winner and Trump as the loser, pretty much in the same spread. And the IBD poll was the only accurate poll in the last election that I knew of. So let's get philosophical. Philosopher Diogenes was eating bread and lentils at supper. He was seen by the philosopher Aristoppus, who lived comfortably by flattering the king. So said Aristoppus, if you would learn to be subservient to the king, you would not have to live on lentils. And learn to live on lentils, and you will not have to be subservient to the king. So getting back to, the other comment in the beginning, Warren Buffett happens to be one of the most, I would say, humble person that I know that has all this money. He eats very modestly and lives a very modest life, and yet he has billions and billions of dollars. So he's not subservient to the king. Another philosophical idea is culture of the mind must be subservient to the heart. When you invest, you need to use your mind and not your heart. A lot of people invest with their heart and not with their mind, and they always get into trouble. And this was a quote by Mahatma Gandhi, one of the great philosophers of our time. All right, now we're getting to the nuts and bolts here. This is a snapshot of the comparison of SH, which is short, and SPY, which is long on the S&P 500. This snapshot actually took place about 3 or 4 days ago. And you could see from the snapshot that this was really the turning point. One of the things that, hi Sal, one of the things that I want to say that is extremely helpful when you're looking at charts and graphs is to put one next to the other, put one opposite one next to the other one. And you could see pretty much that the short turned almost exactly the same time as the long did, up. And what this means basically is that there is a rhyme and reason for the stock market. When you're looking at one stock next to the other, you could see it very, very clearly. For those of you that are kind of new to this layout, I just want to bring out the way I lay out the chart. I have this channel, which is a standard 50-day and 100-day channel. My philosophy or my strategy investing is when the stock hits the top of the channel or the bottom of the channel, it bounces off. So as the channel goes down, it shows that the stock is in a downward trend. When it goes up, it shows it's in an upward trend. So the bottom of the channel is really support, and the top of the channel is resistance. And this theory has been working for me for many years, especially now when the market is so choppy. The other thing that I use is unbalanced volume, and I use the modified version. So this works really well because you could see the direction of the reversal, and you could see the strength of the reversal depending on how far apart it is. Most of you know what the trended price oscillator is, so I throw that on there as well. I'm a big fan of this, and the volume average with the average line in the middle. Big fan of that, knowing if the volume's above average or below average. Sal and many of the other people in the group really look at volume as a primary indicator in all their investing. And so if you don't look at volume, you're going to really sell yourself short. And then this is something that I just found on TOS maybe 5 months ago, 4 months ago, and I think it's a great indicator. It's balance of market power. And it really shows how the stock is moving, whether it goes up or down. And the key with this is when it turns the zero line, when it crosses over the zero line. It gives you a real sense of what's going on. I also like when it's at peaks and the valleys. So this is a great indicator. It's free on TOS. And then the last but not least is relative strength. And I use that against the S&P 500. With all these things, I can see them simultaneously. It allows me to make investment decisions almost instantly. So this is the layout that I use almost all the time. What was that? Let me go back to the pictures. I'm sorry about that. Oh, here we go. That's what happens when you swipe with 3 fingers versus 2 fingers. Another particular layout is the layout between a short-term trend and a long-term trend. This is 1 year, and this is 3 months. And I like to have the 1 year next to the 3 months so I could see what's going on with the stock. In case you're wondering, these arrows, these arrows are scalper alerts, TTM scalper alerts, and I find them extremely useful and very, very important also. Let's see if there's anyone else that's trying to get in. Admit. So in this particular case, I also have the social sentiment, which I find helpful as well. These are all standard on TOS. And for Google, I'm a big fan of Google. I use Google personally in my business. And my business actually depends on Google for referrals. So I try very hard to be on the first page of all my businesses. And I design my own website, so I know how to do SEO optimization. So very, very important. But anyway, Google is definitely a good stock to look at. I just want to say one other thing, that as we're talking about investments today, and we're getting into some ideas, and I don't make any special recommendations that you should buy Google or any other stocks. I just basically help you understand the way I invest, and you could use it whichever way you want it, but you're doing it at your own risk, which means that in this world of investment, there's a lot of junk. And a lot of people tell you stuff that doesn't make any sense and is nonsense. And I found that the best way to get rid of junk is when you go on your junk mail, move it to the junk mailbox. Don't even read it. That's what I do. So if you get junk, just send it right to the junk mailbox. So what is this all about? Well, as we're getting older and we're getting closer to our retirement, we want to have time to smell the roses. And I took a picture of this rose just yesterday. I thought it was the most beautiful rose I've ever seen. And I captured it with my iPhone 11 Pro Max. Absolutely gorgeous picture. So that's the goal, to have more time to smell the roses, to spend time with your family, and to enjoy the things that you want to do. So what is the secret of success in the stock market? I'm gonna share it with you. Of course, I'm not going to tell you everything I know, because that would take too long. If you need more in-depth information, just contact me and we'll talk about it. This is pretty cool. It changes colors. Anyway, so let's go. It all comes back to the great Italian philosophers and how they created the cubic equations and Fibonacci series and everything else. It goes way, way back to the invention of 3 dimensions. The stock market is a 3-dimensional medium. It's not just 1-dimensional. People look at charts and they think it's just a 1-dimensional algorithm, but actually it's 3, 4, sometimes 5 dimensions, because it's changes through time. And keep in mind that to be well read, you have to read all these great philosophers. So I thought this was funny. 3 people can keep a secret as long as 2 of them are dead. G. Gordon Liddy, do you know who he is?
Sure.
You want to tell us?
He was a part of the break-in, the DNC under Nixon, and he was a radio host.
Absolutely. That's him. So anyway, these are some of my secrets, and I want to share them with you. I'm a big fan of looking at the heat map before I do any investing during the day, because This gives you a really good sense of what's going on in the market. ThinkorSwim actually has a heat map, and they recently upgraded it so that you can um, look at only your watch list on this heat map. And I love the way it's laid out. Obviously, the light green colors are positive, and the reds and the oranges are negative. And this is a heat map from like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, showing Twitter up, Tesla up, race up. No big surprises here, but Alibaba was really badly hurt the last few days on earnings, and people are saying, well, it's a great stock, you should be investing in it. So when you're looking at a heat map like this, it's not only important to look at the green, but also look at the red and colors like this, because this gives you tremendous potential. And I want to just shout out to Alex. He is the creator of Stock to Own. He's on this meeting right now. We're going to ask him to talk a little bit later about his platform. But when I saw this, I said, okay, let me go to stockToOwn.com and see what the rating is for Baba. Apparently, it's excellent rating. So I ended up buying this at a dip, and it's a great tool, to be able to combine certain things like the heat map with stock to own and other things like that. So what we see over here is that even within the last couple of days, the market's starting to look very robust, and things are starting to pick up. A lot of greens, mostly greens. If you looked at this about 2 weeks ago, it was all red or mostly reds. So interesting. And look at PayPal, it's red right here. So you have a possibility. Now, the other thing about a heat map is that this size of the boxes and the rectangles represent the size of the company. And the smaller the size, the smaller companies. So I like to look at the really, really tiny companies, because their stocks are much cheaper, and also they have a much greater potential of getting bigger. Believe it or not, Tesla at one point was only about this big, and Amazon at one point was only about this big. Did you know that Amazon started out in someone's garage selling books on the internet? And Facebook at one time was only in someone's computer in a coffee shop. So if you look at the really tiny ones and you think that they have potential, and check them out on stocktone.com, you might benefit from it. So we started out with what it was like to be an idiot, but let's talk about what it's like to be intelligent. Unfortunately, none of these really help you in the stock market. The only thing that really helps you is this one over here. And quantifying things, making hypotheses, and proving them logically, mathematical. This probably will help you too, tackling the question of why we live and all that, but that's not really as helpful as this. So let's talk about, why being a good musician or a naturalist or having good spatial skills or even good interpersonal skills or any of this stuff doesn't really help you in investing, because being a good investor is a highly specialized, series of, talents or abilities or intelligence, if you will. So quantifying things, when you start quantifying things, that's really, really important, making hypotheses and proving them. So I made a hypothesis, and the hypothesis was several weeks ago that if the Senate remains Republican, it doesn't matter who the president is, the market will still go up. Do you remember that hypothesis? And actually, I made it last week, and it's proven to be correct. So being logical and mathematical is what makes you a good investor, not anything else. And this is another way of looking at it: quantifying things, making hypotheses, and proving them. So, and another one, uh, logical, mathematical ability to use numbers effectively and analyze problems logically. So, analyze problems logically and use numbers effectively. That's it. Being a great musician doesn't help, believe me. Um, what we're going to be dealing with in the next, I would say, 20, 30 years is the interaction of humans and artificial intelligence. And I really think that having a connection with artificial intelligence and understanding it and using it to the best potential is the key to being a good investor. This is a play on the Sistine Chapel, in which God touches man. Now man touches artificial intelligence. So I think it's very interesting. And this is especially for Nigel. I love Nigel, but he seems to get worked up about everything that you can't change or people you can't change. It's not worth the anger, buildup, or heartache. I think this goes to Sal too. Control only what you can and let go. And what can you control? You can control your strategy. Expectations are the root of all heartache. You can never expect your investments to go up. You can only hope for them to go up. All right, so that leads me to this wonderful new program that we spoke about last time, Stock to Own. And we have Alex on. Alex, do you want to just give us a brief introduction as to what the capabilities of this site is and how we can use it? And before you do, this is a screenshot of one of my favorite areas of the site. It's called a service, and you're comparing different stocks. So in this case, I'm comparing all the stocks on the top. I just typed that in myself with a space in between. The site says that you are limited to 5, but I actually typed as much as 12, and it works fine. And what I love about it is the MOS, margin of safety. You look for stocks that have the highest margin of safety. So this is one, this is the other, and this is the other. And actually, it works out great because you can do very well by having margin of safety. By the way, these stocks are stocks that I came up with out of searches in other sites and even on stocks to own. So, Alex, if you're still here, could you please say a few words about this?
Sure, I'll be happy to. Um, so I started stock to own quite a few years ago with a simple premise to save time for investors like myself, and save time by discovering data and combining and presenting it in a simple way where you can use it right away. There are few areas on stock to own that you can where you can analyze a single stock, or you can do something like this screenshot, for example, where you can compare stocks side by side, and there are also screeners which allow you to set a whole bunch of parameters, fundamental, technicals, and get the list of stocks relatively quickly that will match your requirements. Some of basic screeners are like just regular stock screener. It allows you to filter by growth rates, depth to free cash flow ratio, and so on. But there are also a couple of more fancy ones like AI screener, for example. It allows you to filter securities by AI signals, which you calculate on daily basis. I'm not sure. Is it possible that I will share? Maybe it will be easier to explain. And if I share my screen,
I'm going to allow you to share right now.
Thank you.
Could you share it now, Alex?
Okay. I'm trying to do it. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can all see it. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. So this is Stock2Own, and if you log in, if you are a registered user, it is basically allows you to maintain multiple watch lists. And if you go to your watch list, for example, this one, you can see all your securities there, all your stocks with Sharpe ratio, current price, signals, and 6 months and 1 year returns. But actually, this whole service started with stock analyzer, and you can analyze stocks from your watch list, or you can do it anytime from any page. If you just click on this icon, stock analyzer, and type, I don't know, maybe they will start with Adobe. And this is my default screen where I can see price and machine learning AI signals as well. So I can see that a few days ago it was generated a buy signal, and just regular like weekly price charts for longer term, stochastics, MACD, and I also include the price chart for S&P and corresponding index. Like for instance, Adobe is technology company. That's why you can see here XLK, which is a spider index for technology. So basically, these two charts allows you to kind of get a high-level picture how the market doing and how that particular sector is doing. Now you can, in terms of data analysis, you can also incorporate current price movements for the specific stock. And if you are interested in more long-term investment, you probably also want to analyze fundamental data, financial statements, and so on. And a couple of unique things here are, first of all, there are a bunch of ratios, profitability, liquidity, all that regular stuff, and they also have the description which gives you an idea is it good or bad, and so on. But we also combined growth grades, and there are two of them, historical and year-over-year. And if you can see that for Adobe, historical growth rate is qualified as A+ because all of them are good. And if you click on it, you can see why. Because for the last 10 years, it was almost always above 10%. If it was orange, it was above 8%, but below 10. And sometimes it was a little bit lower, but still a pretty high percentage, which gave overall rating pretty high. For year-over-year, it's very much the same type of analysis, but it gives you an idea of how stable those growths are. So instead of going back for 5 or 10 years, it just compares year-over-year growth. This is kind of different story. It just gives you a view from slightly different angle on the same major characteristics. And if you want to take a look to any of them, you can go to either financial statements like this, or you can click on annual statement charts, which is basically it gives you the raw numbers with growth rates as well. For instance, earnings per share, current earnings per share is 6, and you can see that growth was 15% from last year. And sometimes seeing those two numbers are quite beneficial because, like, for example, equities, you can see that raw numbers are growing, but by looking at raw numbers, it doesn't always give you an idea how fast they're growing. And seeing growth rates on the same chart kind of helps to finish the picture and have a better understanding what's going on. All basic ratios are also here, like return of assets on investment capital, and usually we want to see there more than 12-15%, and if it is more than that, you can see that it is on a green background. If it is below 15%, it is on a red background. So it's kind of easy just by looking at this page, see what's going on. And another big piece of fundamental analysis is value price. And if you click on it, you can see exact numbers, and there are 3 different estimates: pessimistic, moderate, and optimistic. And in all screeners, we are using moderate projection. And you can see all those raw numbers that we are using and calculated value price, and it also gives you a margin of safety percentage if you compare it to current price. Another interesting characteristic here is investment recovery time. And it shows you how long it will take to hold this security and accumulate earnings to kind of get back your investment, original investment. And the lower this number, the better investment it is. And once again, if you want to see, if you want to do your own calculations, you are more than welcome. Like maybe you see that future earnings per share for Adobe could be 15%, and perhaps future PE would be a little bit lower, like 20%. And if you click, you can see your own value price, and you can compare it with current market price and make a decision. So this is kind of basic stock analysis. And if you click on any of those buttons, you will see all the details right away, and including current price chart. And this piece is available for a bunch of securities, including non-US markets. So if you investing in Germany or Canada or Great Britain, you're more than welcome to try those securities as well. But stock analyzer kind of focusing on a single stock analysis, which gives you all those details. If you wanna do research or find the best stocks you wanna invest in, you can always use stock screener or AI screener or magic screener, whatever you're more comfortable with. And if you go to stock screener, you can see there are plenty of filter parameters you can set, and you can also save all those presets. Like for example, I have here True Bargain, which gives me all securities that have price below book value per share. And if you set something like that and just click data, you can see that there are quite a few securities that could be qualified for that. And some of them have pretty good growth rates, and at least 2 of them have really great value price, which give you pretty big margin of safety. So this is kind of the power of using this system and finding best stocks for your needs. Another interesting service here is market overview, where you can see a bunch of different characteristic of a market on pretty much one place, like major indices, major US indices, including VIX, commodities, advanced declines ratios, treasury yield. Recently, treasury yield was kind of on front pages everywhere because people were worried about it, and you can see for yourself how it looks like today and how did it look a year ago, for example. So currently, it looks like it is improving, but if you take a look how it was a year ago, or maybe even more than a year ago, it was inverted, which was a bad sign, and that was one of reasons why a lot of people were expecting market crash and so on. So this is brief overview. Oh, and service that Bill mentioned is stock comparison. Usually, or at least when I developed it, I thought about it as a way to find the best stocks among multiple in the same sector or same industry. But you can type there whatever you want, and you will see results side by side for multiple stocks, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, all those big names. And if you click compare, you can see and compare them side by side, and you can see that, okay, based on price to book value per share, Facebook probably better choice than others, and growth rates are better, and so on and so forth. That's pretty much it. So, like, brief overview. If you have any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, I have an interesting question. How do you import your watch list into the website?
Yes, that's a good question, and currently you cannot import.
Okay.
So you have to put them one by one, and if you find something on stock screener, for example, you can add it to your watch list right from here, like add to watch list, and you can select watch list from one of your from drop down and add, and you can also associate your own value price with it or set up alerts, something like that. You can also do the same from analyzer. Like in each analyzer, you can, if you click on this plus watch list button, you will be able to add that specific security that stock to your watch list.
Can you add it from the comparison screen?
It's another good question. Let's figure it out. No, you cannot. So you have to analyze it first, and after that you will be able to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I'll add some notes. I'm glad you're using that comparison tool. I was excited when I developed it, but not people are using it.
Oh, it's fantastic. Especially if you have, like an idea that you're going to invest in maybe 8 stocks in the morning or whatever, and you type them all and you see which one is doing best. It's great. It's a great way of looking at it.
Thank you. Currently, I'm working on some additional way to analyze and compare stocks using financial statements and historical ratios, but I'm not sure when that version will be available. So as soon as it is ready, I'll let you know.
Well, one thing I want to say, first of all, a disclaimer. I'm a personal user of this site, and it's also a important for you to know that I liked it so much that I called Alex and I asked him to come on, and so I'm not impartial to this. Okay, number one. Number two, let me let you know how I found this. So this is the only site that allows you to find the intrinsic value of the stock easily on your iPad, your iPhone, or on the website. And the intrinsic value of a stock for me is extremely important, and I'll tell you why. I started learning about stock investing many years ago, but I got serious when I opened up my TD Ameritrade account, and part of my TD Ameritrade account agreement was that I would get training in Invest Tools. And in Invest Tools, for years I studied value investing. And they teach you how to do all the calculations yourself and how to figure out the intrinsic value. And it takes a long time to do that manually. This site allows you to do it instantly, and it's really the only site that has a I would say a quantifiable system that gets you to where you're going. And I've tested this, with my own calculations and with my own investments, and it's really very reliable. The other thing I just want to stress is that this is available on the iPad and on the iPhone and any other Android devices. So if you're, interested in intrinsic values of a particular stock, you could just look it up, fairly easily. And it's definitely definitely great. I know last week Sal had a question. Sal, are you there? So,
Sal was there. He just sent a message saying that he was having audio problems. It seems that he was signing out and coming back in.
or maybe he's in the waiting room.
No, he said he was having audio problems. So signing out, he should be back.
All right. So basically, what Sal wanted to know last week was, um, how you establish your margin of safety, and is it based on projected earnings as well as past earnings, or just projected earnings?
Is it question to me?
Yeah, it's you, Alex.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I can show you on the same example on Adobe. So if you click on value price, basically these are parameters that we are using to calculate value price and margin of safety. And as you can see, there are a couple of them that we are mixing together: historical, current, and forward projected values. Those are PE and earnings per share growth. Usually, historical and current, those are available. That's no question about it. Forward or projected values, those are usually analyst estimates. And this is also an important part of it. So, but depends on estimate model. I'm using different ways to combine them. Like for instance, for moderate estimates, I usually take average of those. For optimistic projection, you may take max or something like that. And if you click on this link, you will see the very detailed explanation of what's exactly going on and how those values are used, and what kind of estimates we are using and why. And I tested this model on a lot of securities on historical data for many years, and this is the best model so far, which allows me to combine all those data into one basically number, value price. Another big piece of this estimate is equity growth rate. And if you click on it, you can see that those are historical values, and I also combine them in a certain way with sort of exponential average, and it becomes part of this whole calculation. Like 9.5%, there is probably not a single one with 9.5%. But combining all these numbers together allows me to estimate value price. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. And how many stocks are in your database that you draw from?
A lot. At some point, I loaded mutual funds as well, and as you know, for mutual funds, this whole analysis become kind of convoluted because you basically relying on mutual fund manager and their ability to combine. So for mutual funds, for ETFs, there are only price charts. But in general, I believe there are more than 5,000 actively traded stocks on US market, and you may find probably all of them here on Stock2Own. I'm also trying to keep up with new IPOs, and I cannot guarantee that those are loaded on daily basis, but at least on weekly basis, I'm trying to load them. Like for instance, one of the new IPOs was Snowflake, and you can see that price is not always available, and financial statements is kind of empty and so on. But at least stock is there, it is present, and when time goes by, you will see that more and more data become available.
Alex, how many paid subscribers do you have for your site right now?
That's $1 million question. I have about 16,000 subscribers, but very tiny percent of them are actually paying for the service. A lot of services here are free. For instance, this stock analyzer page is free. You do not even have to register to see all this data. If you want to see price charts, then you will need to register, but registration is free again. So basically, I'm charging for mostly for screeners and some additional services like watch list maintenance and so on.
So are you the only one managing this, or do you have a whole team?
So far, I'm handling it myself. I have yeah. So I have a friend who is helping me working on the mobile application, but other than that, yeah.
And do you have a strong computer background? What is your background in to be able to do this?
Yes, I'm computer programmer. I work in financial industry for more than 20 years, and yeah, I work mostly in most of my career in Microsoft shops, and I'm like my primary focus is databases, but I also started to learn and enjoy a lot of playing with machine learning, Python, all that new technologies, relatively new technologies.
And I have one last question. Where do you get all these feeds from? Are they all from various sources, or is there only one primary source that you get the feeds from?
This is a very good question, and I get it a lot. And most of my feeds are based on free available data in internet. And I'm using multiple data feeds to, I compare it. I have a lot of different pieces of software that can validate data. And for instance, in the US market, one of the best sources for fundamental data is Edgar, which is new platform from Security and Exchange Commission. And this is kind of primary source for US stocks, and you probably will not be able to find anything better. But for other countries, I have to use different data feeds and so on.
I'm very impressed. I can't tell you in words how impressed that you've taken this undertaking. It seems like it's more of a public service than a money maker for you, but it's great, absolutely terrific.
Thank you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if I get enough money to host this solution, I'm happy. I'm doing it because I enjoy doing it, and it also helps me with investing.
Yeah. Wow. Anyone have any other questions? Alex, you just, Sal, you just signed in. Do you have any questions for Alex?
No, unfortunately not. I had problems with my audio, so I missed most of the presentation. So I hope that you could share, if it was recorded, I hope you could share the recording.
Yeah, I'll probably post it up on YouTube. Yeah, all this this whole thing is recorded.
Hey, Bill, I've got a question for Alex. So I got in a bit late, so I didn't get the introduction. He created this website. Is that what it is? Oh, get
Yes.
out! Awesome. And how do we get in contact with you to get to learn a bit more about the website, or we've just got to go through it and just learn how to navigate through it?
Well, a couple of ways. If you click pretty much on every page, you can see this contact us link, and you can put text and question, and I promise you I will respond. Or you can contact me directly through my email.
Perfect. Awesome education.
And
Thanks so much.
Videos to learn the site as well.
Mm-hmm.
The videos were produced by Alex's daughter, and they're really cute videos. I love watching them. So
Unreal. Definitely, we'll check out everything and support you.
Yeah.
So you're actually talking to Alex, who could be the next value investing guru. You never know.
Of course, definitely.
I seriously doubt that, but thank you for your confidence.
The next William O'Neill, but in value investing. And this is great.
Great. Awesome. We'll spread the word on our end here too. Oh.
Yes.
I have to tell you
Thank you. I would appreciate it.
The service is free, so you don't have to pay for anything unless you are interested in doing screens, and then it's a very a modest amount every month. What is the rates if you want the full package?
Yeah, I can show you. There's probably have to say now. If you go here, you will see all sort of conditions, subscriptions, and all paying options.
Got it.
And some of them are monthly based. Some of them, if you pay for the whole year, it will be a little bit less. Annual membership, this is the one that I kind of that I rely on in order to support this service, and it is designed specifically for mobile app users. Mobile app is free to use, and you can analyze as many stocks as you want. But if you want it to be synchronized with your stock-to-own account and all your watch list be synchronized and so on, then you will need to buy stock-to-own membership. And annual membership on that $29.99 per year.
Got you.
Yeah, and it's my own personal experience with this is that And I've been a member of this for about a month now, and I've found some really great stocks. But most importantly, I discovered stocks that I wanted to buy, and I decided not to buy them because the margin of safety wasn't positive. And I also want to make one other comment that kind of segues to the next part of this, is that IBD is wonderful, and Marketsmith is wonderful, but they are more geared to growth stocks and not value stocks. In fact, William O'Neill really did not believe in value stocks, but Warren Buffett and the people that made billions were all value investors. And this is where I think it fills in the gaps, and it bridges the difference between growth and value. And lately, with the market being in flux, I've been more of growth with GARP, growth at a reasonable price investor. And this is where I think it's been great. So it's definitely worth giving it a shot. And if you like it, then use it. I think it'd be worth your time and effort to get to know a little bit more. So Alex, thank you very much. You're welcome to stop sharing your screen, and
Yep.
I'll continue with my presentation if you want to take a quick 3-minute break, and we'll come right back. Okay.
Gotcha. Thanks again, Alex. We'll keep in contact. Appreciate you
Thank you.
helping your time. Appreciate you helping.
Thank you, and thank you, Bill, for giving me this opportunity to present.
Oh, my pleasure. You're welcome to come in our meeting anytime.
Thank you so much, and much success to you.
Sounds good. Thank you, and thank you for your kind words.
Okay. Yeah.
This was a very valuable presentation. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll be right back too.
Alex, I had a question about dividends stocks.
Sure.
How do you use your software to find good dividend stocks?
Currently, there are no screeners for dividends, but if you compare stocks, for example, or if you go to your watch list and if you analyze stock, you can see that there is dividend and dividend yield and percentage shown there. But I see a point. So if you wanna screen for dividend stocks, then yeah, currently there is no way to do that.
Or do you consider dividends important in your own value investing?
Sorry, say it again.
Do you consider dividends important in your own value investing, or you ignore that?
Absolutely, yeah, I agree with you. But usually dividends are associated with value stocks, right? I mean, it is very uncommon to see growth stocks that are paying dividends. And on top of that, if you are looking for high dividend stocks, usually you can find them in very specific areas like REITs, for instance. They usually pay relatively high dividends. And if this is your objective, then you probably don't need a specific screener, right? So that because you know your REITs, and based on the law, they have to pay at least 90% of their revenue as dividends. And the same would be true for value stocks, like those well-established companies that do not grow very fast. They usually pay dividends, and quite often you can find them if you just search for quality stock, like for example, if I go to my rule number 1 screen, there is a. Would you mind if I share my screen again? I can show you. Can I?
Let me set it up so you can share it again. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you could do it. You're all set.
All right. So here is I was basically I ran my screener for very stable, very predictable companies with growth rates, A or beta, and good debt ratio and relatively high volume. And if you can see in results, there is a dividend yield. And well, not so many of them, but if you go to specific sector and find real estate, for example, and maybe don't be very restrictive on growth rates and perhaps debt as well. Yeah, you can find something like this, for example, with 3% dividend. And you can do it sector by sector. So yeah, I hear you. So there is no way, currently there is no way to find, to search by dividend, highest dividend. But I guess you can sort of do it if you go with good value companies, you will be able to find the dividend paying companies as well. Nevertheless, I put it into my notes and I'll look on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I stopped sharing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay, great.
looks great.
All right. So let's see if I can mute myself over here and unmute myself over here. Mute. Myself up here. Okay. So this is the Marketsmith app. And I'm going to demonstrate this and show you how fantastically it works. You can all hear me, right?
Yep.
And you can see the app. Okay.
Yes.
So the first thing to keep in mind when you're looking at this app is that if you tap the app, you have a bottom row of stocks. So I'm going to start with just the basic fundamentals. On the list on top over here, this little box, you can type in whatever it is that you want to see. This is the NASDAQ composite, and this is the weekly. You could change it from weekly to daily, or you could even do intraday if you want. But weekly is pretty good, and it gives you a snapshot of the news. This is a feed from Yahoo, so it's not a unique feed. One of the things I like about this, it has a journal, so you can write down certain things that you've seen. You could look for certain things, and you can actually draw on the chart and save it and put a note on here indicating what it is. Test. So every time it comes up with this particular chart, you'll see it. You can also do graphics on the chart. I can't do it right now because I have my finger on, but there's ways of actually drawing on the chart, and you can save it. And then you can also do alerts. So add alert, you just type in here and the price, whatever it is, $50. You can set the alert, and now you have that set. If you have a unique stock, you can put the name up there, like Apple, and it gives you the particular graph. These are all my notes on it and all my alerts, and these are all my graphics. So I established these graphics. I believe that the graphics can only be done on the website though, but it does carry over to the app. So it allows you to screen from one to the other, so you can go from right to left and see all the stocks that you have on your particular list. So this is one way of accessing it. The other way of one thing I do want to mention about the app and the keyboard, and this is a problem that I have every time I touch the screen. This big keyboard came up. So the way around it is you just go up and you type in floating keyboard, and now the keyboard is a small little keyboard that you can float around, and it doesn't interfere with what you're doing. And if you want the keyboard to come back, you just drag it down to the bottom and it comes back. So this was about an hour and a half with technical support at Apple to figure this out. No one really knew how to do this. So the other thing is that when you tap on the screen, you have this bottom list of stocks, and the way you access it is you can go to your screens, and these are all the screens. This is my screen, this is Marketsmith, Stock Screener, Marketsmith screens. You have track screens, and so forth and so on. Even the stock guide gives you all the different guides. This is something that they put together every quarter, and this is the stock guide from the last quarter, 3 strong quarters, lower volatility. So interesting things to do. One of my favorite areas is my screens and GARP all stocks, and I have GARP stock to own, which are growth at a reasonable price for stocks in my watch list. And I just screened it just by tapping on it, and these are all the stocks that come up, based on my 500 stocks on my watch list. So, and then I can just go from one to the other really quickly. And you could see that this particular layout shows you the cup and handles and everything else. So I subscribe to the service that allows you to see all the graphics. And basically I just go through all this. That's my routine, and then I write down all the stocks on my iPad. It's very simple, actually. I just go to the notes right here. These are my notes, and this is the list of my stocks. Very easily do it with my finger. And then once I have this list, then I jump to stock2own.com, which I should have somewhere on here. Probably would have to just log in. So stock2own.com, and then I would just go to services and stock comparison and go back to my list. So I have, some stocks that I were looking at. I have QCOM, Workday, and let's see, JD and CPRT. Actually, Enphase is a good one, and First Solar. These are the ones that I got in the later part of the day. So I'll just go back and I plug them in very easily. So First Solar. I have to remember the name of it, the ticker symbol. I think Enphase is easy to remember. So Enphase.
First Solar's FSLR. Frank, Sam, Larry, Robert. Yeah.
Okay. And let's say Apple is one of them. And what was, W Day, Workday, SI, good, SE was good. Not DI, SI. It's, believe it or not, it's not that difficult to do. And this is something you could do in the morning in your bed, when you're 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, do all this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and what else? We can put in plug. We were looking at plug last week and compare. And immediately you can see that SI has a MOS of over 2,000. And it really stands out, at comparison to the other ones. And Enphase has an SOS of 134, which stands out as well. But the reason that SI stands out above all the other ones is because the Graham MOS is extremely high. It's 5640. You should be able to see it right here. So I look at this and I say, okay, well, I think this would be a good one to look at. So I just go on there, and I just go through this, and this is very helpful because you can already see the comparison of the S&P 500 and XLF, which is a financial S&P 500, and you might need some more convincing, or you might be very happy with that. Risk reward is also great. So I take all this and I move it onto my TOS, which is probably somewhere over here. And I type in SI up here. And you could see, from the 3-month chart, SI is doing phenomenally well. The price is going up, and even today it was up almost 11%. So, and if you analyze this with the TM scalper alert, this would have been a good time to get into it. But it's only a $26 stock. So from $12 up to $26 in a very short period of time. It's great. And this is a stock that I probably would have not really considered as a good stock. So naturally, I would be like, okay, I want to buy this stock. So you just click buy, and that's it. And you send your order. But it has to be extended hours. So this would be 26.9, in my cash account. Yeah, this is definitely worth buying. But normally I wouldn't buy it for 26. on extended hours, I would try to get it for like 25. And the reason being is that people are crazy during extended hours, and you can sometimes get it at a real bargain. So you send it out, and did you hear that? And that's it. It's really that simple. It's a lot of fun. So jumping around from Marketsmith to stock to own to other sites like that is great. These are all my other screens that I have, but lately this has been my favorite. The ones that Marketsmith talks about is the blue dot. And blue dot is a great screen because it gives you high relative RS ratings. And once you have it screened, you also could change it from a full chart to a multi-chart. So now you could see all the charts. You can just scroll down like this, much easier. And you can also change the sorting. I like to sort with composite rating, price percent change, and RS rating. But you could change it, with whatever way you want. I think price percent change is very important. So the way this sorting works is that the composite rating is the first sort. So if a stock has the same composite rating, then it sorts by the price percent change. And then if it still has the same value, it sorts by RS rating. But one of the nice things to do is you can sort, instead of by that, you can sort by the industry group rank. That's a good one too. And then you hit done, and it gives you a completely different sort. Now you have IIPR, which is a great stock. It's up 33% in a very short time. This is an interesting story. This is actually a stock that I own, and I bought the stock at a dip right over here. And today the stock went up, and it met my limit, which was 20%, literally over in one day. It hit the 20%. Then I looked at it, I go, wait a second, this is weird. Why did it sell? No, yeah, it hit my limit. And I went back and I bought more of it. And then it kept on going up another 20%. That doesn't really happen very often, but it does happen today. And I was like, wow, this is great. Thanks for putting that one on my watch list. And CPRT is a great stock also. Intuitive. For a lot of you that feel that spending money on sites like this is a waste of money, I want you to know that if you make a good trade, you can pay for the fee of the whole site in one day. So it's not really a waste of money. It's really very valuable. So if you change this over to the weekly, then, and you go back snapshots, you can see the industry group and sectors, or even the fundamentals on here. So if you click on fundamentals, yeah. So the closest that this particular site, Marketsmith, has to what Alex is trying to do, it has projected NAV and projected price, but SMH doesn't even have a projected price. So their focus is not to try to create a value comparison. Their focus is to try to compare growth stocks. So even ESGV has very little in the NAV and the price. Do you see that? It's all the way over here on the left. I can't point it out, I'm sorry. But you should be able to see it. Like this one over here is different. Intuitive says that EPS going forward, 2021, is 8.4, 9.5, and estimated price is up 8% and 13%. So this is helpful, you know, but not everything has that. And this one's also is also helpful. So you just go through this one by one, and Upwork just shot right through the roof. Also, it's crazy. These are all stocks that I've been looking at and investing lately. They've all been going up. So the blue dot screen on ThinkorSwim and Marketsmith is a very reliable way of finding incredible stocks. Aptivo Therapeutics, that shot through the roof also. Absolutely insane. Somehow some of these stocks are just going up. And apps is one that I was telling you about before. Qualcomm, another great stock. And basically, if you take your time and you go through this on your iPad, you can find amazing stocks. And this is all something that you could see early in the morning and invest it right away. So the blue dot is by far the best screen on Marketsmith, you know, in my opinion. So if you do something else, let's see what else. There's really nothing else that compares to that. Let's see. Pocket Pivot is good too. I wonder if Blue Dot was something that I developed only for my watch list. I think it was. Let's see, my screens. Let's see if Marketsmith has a different blue dot. No. I think I came up with that screen on my own. It's entirely possible because I don't see a blue dot under Marketsmith. Unless this is it. No. No, I think I came up with that on my own. So what the blue dot does, and by the way, I called up Marketsmith and I said I want to do a screen with a blue dot. And they're like, yeah, you can't do it.